Hey everybody. Hi everyone. Welcome to Arts Talk PH. My name is Mary Manzano and I'm here to welcome you all to our fifth episode of Brush with Artists. So today we are live on Facebook and on YouTube, and I would like to thank you all for tuning in. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can ask your questions in the Q&A box that you can find at the bottom of the screen or on the side, depending on how you're viewing the video. And for those people who are watching on YouTube, welcome and ask your questions in the comment box. We have a live Q&A happening right now. So if you have any questions, we will try our best to answer them. Our artists are going to be here and they will be answering those questions there. For our artists that are watching right now, please go ahead and join us as well. Our moderator for today's episode is none other than our co-founder, Fabrian Morales. She is also the chief curator of Arts Talk PH, and I'm going to be welcoming her into the stream right now. Okay. Our episode for today is actually Brush with Artists episode 4. Sorry, are we episode 4? I thought we're episode 5.
We're
Are we
episode 5.
episode 4 or 5? Syempre, yung slides ko mali. So, episode 5, Nature
Sorry, we're
and
episode
Nurture.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much to the 3,000 viewers we have right now, according to Mary. Hi, Mary. Thank you so much for watching and for always supporting us. Mary is also one of our artists in Artstock PH and amazing, amazing work. So please go ahead and visit the website when you have time after this. After this, okay? So go to artstockph.com. All right, take it away, Fab. Let's go and introduce our artists.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Brush with Artists. So, what is Brush with Artists? It is our weekly live conversation with our artists. This is about their art, about their creative processes, their views on different topics and relevant issues. So, last week, Mary, we had a fun and really insightful conversation with some of our Hindsight is 2020 artists. That's 1111, Chino Carlo, and John Rocabiles. And
That's right.
the topic was art and emotions.
Yes, lots of emotions happening. We went back through memory lane last week, and it was really fun to discuss all of these influences, like how their past and their emotions during that time influenced their art. And that was we're hoping that we're going to be able to do the same today, talking about what made our artists move into being an artist and also what their advocacies are. So let's go ahead and introduce the first one.
So our first artist is Ina Jardiolin. So Ina is a multidisciplinary artist whose work uses surreal imagery as a response to the public's apathy regarding environmental crisis. So later you can ask Ina about her very famous cute tardigrades, which is in recent months have been her subject. Our next artist is Ian Inoy. Ian is a performance artist and a visual artist whose body of work is an intersection between representation and abstraction. And Ian's advocacy is to promote the preservation of aquatic life. And our next artist is Jane Cuevas. Jane is a made semi-finalist and a Graphica Manila book featured artist whose body of work encompasses a cheeky and affirmative representation of femininity. Jane actually studied IT. So later we will learn from her why she chose to pursue art full time. So let's call on our
Okay.
artist. Let's start
All
our
right, let's call on
chit
along,
chat.
di ba?
Right?
Let's start our chit chat. Let me remove my.
Hi. Hey everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hi, hello everyone.
All right, so let
Thank
me
you for
just.
joining us tonight.
Mhm.
It's an honor. Always.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
so nice.
Yeah, say
It's
hello
so
to our nine
nice to
thousand.
see
Yeah, go ahead, Fab.
Huh?
Go,
Well, it's so
Fab.
nice to have you. So nice to have all of you tonight. I know everyone's doing their own thing. So tonight we are going to talk about nature and nurture. So why nature and nurture? So nature because we are going to hear stories about Ina and Ian's advocacy, and then nurture because we're going to hear the story of Jane and how she decided to pursue art. Um, let's start with Ina.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me just let me just push this on here.
So excited to
Okay.
hear
Yeah,
this.
Ina's art has been about raising awareness on the. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ina. No, it's about raising awareness on the effects of industrial waste to the environment.
Yeah.
Mm.
And can you
Yeah,
tell
that's
us
quite
more
related to
about
it.
this?
So for me, it's been more about kind of reminding people that every purchase that you make, every decision, every purchase that you make has a direct impact, not just on the environment, but what people feel like they can produce or mass produce, and that mass production actually creates a lot of waste. So it the funny thing is I get my materials kasi from my partly from my family business, partly from neighbors willing to donate their garbage to me for art. And that's how I ended up getting things like leather and the hulma, the wooden hulma you see in the picture, that's actually from my family business. And they really just like give me sacks and sacks of the stuff kasi otherwise it would just go into the landfill. Although I think some people buy naman for crafts, but a vast majority of it ends up talaga in the landfill. So, ayun, what happened was it started out with my mom kasi when she was younger, her grandfather brought her to a shoe factory and then they would play with the scraps. So,
Mhm.
years later, she ended up marrying someone who would eventually have a shoe store company. And then
Mhm.
she goes, Ina, why don't you play with scraps? And that came full circle. And then that really influenced my art very strongly. So,
Mhm.
ayun, if you look closely at the tardigrade painting, I was incorporating leather that was in shoes. The hulma is the mold for shoes, and it kind of warps over time, and they can't use it anymore, so it'd be just thrown away. So ako, like one, I get the materials for free or really cheap, so it's really better overhead, less money
Mhm.
for me to spend. Partly, but
So
yeah,
they
it's
bring
really
the
just.
virtue for
Uh,
nature.
I feel like eventually we're just gonna be so flooded with garbage that we're going to have to find ways to reuse them. So this is just me proactively going about it now, like using
Mhm.
some stuff from the waste and turning it into something nice, and also going, guys, so this is how much I have. I can use it in a full 3x4 painting. It covers everything, and this isn't even like a full week's worth of garbage. You know, it's like a self reflection sort of thing. Then, okay, I kind of lost myself. What
Okay.
was the
It's
question?
okay. I can understand it naman. Yeah.
Okay.
No, you were still on point that you were trying to take a look at what you have on waste and trying to use what you currently have right now as waste and reducing it. You're right about that. Like before we have to hire a wall E at some point in the future. I hope that this the garbage can be reduced. How about this one?
Okay, yeah. So I went to Bohol because I heard that there's a the government there actually set up this program for uh I think for women who want to support their families. Like it's just like a really simple job that they do. So what they do is they collect garbage from the
Mhm.
oceans, from
Mhm.
the coastlines, like plastic waste,
Mhm.
and then they use a heat press to create sheets of
Oh.
sheets of plastic, like thick sheets that can be used in crafts. So there are actually pretty good artisan brands that make bags,
Mhm.
that make jewelry, and these are featured in like really nice art fairs, really nice craft fairs.
Mhm.
And then the women also get something to do. They have a way of self-expression. It's a really good project. I think they work with a Japanese university with that. That's how they get a lot of the technology.
Are these
Mhm.
soft
And you can
plastics?
buy, yeah,
Are
they melt it together. But
mm,
the really great thing about this is the government made sure that it was not harmful to the women. So they researched like what temperature they should use, what way they should meld the plastic together that doesn't release like chemicals to harm the women potentially. So,
Mhm.
it's very responsible in the way that they do it. Medyo mahal lang. That's why I haven't continued to buy from them for my work kasi I have to ship all the way from Bohol pa. Each sheet is slightly pricey. But I think it's really worth it, and it's something that it should be supported. I hope that they're still ongoing. That was a few months back. I don't know what's happened since the ECQ.
Mhm. If you have a link to that, maybe we can link to them and maybe see how we can also
Sige,
support them. Oo. Let us.
I'll look for it.
Oo, sige. Maganda. It's really nice.
Mm-mm.
Think okay. Is Fabrian gone? I think Fabrian just popped out. Yeah. So Fabrian just popped out. But the thing is, we were just talking about sa segue ako because we were just talking about garbage, and then I saw that Ian's picture here has like plastic bottles. So ang saya, di ba? Ang dami niyang binigay sa akin. Can you tell us more about this naman, Ian?
okay. I can relate a lot actually with Ina because I also use junk, scraps, and everything that I could use in my art para lang we could lessen garbage disposal because yun nga, siguro it came from, if you could see yung isang photo, it's a free diving photo of me. And
Mhm.
there were times kasi na nakakakita ako ng kalat talaga like underwater, and it's difficult to bring
Oh,
it up na kasi nga natatabunan na and it's super heavy na, and the thing is
oh,
it's damaging the coral reefs, so nagiging puti sila, it's bleaching,
okay.
losing their colors ganyan, and then sadly habang tumatagal namamatay din sila, so na umunti yung life, and that's what sparked me to use yun nga, mga junks and garbages on my art as well. Kasi I really wanna promote environmental protection and awareness na meron siyang damage na nagagawa, yung improper
Mm,
disposal natin. So with the photo, yung may dala-dala akong plastic bottles, that was kasi I ran out of out of stock ng plastic bottles at home
mhm,
na from
mhm,
friends. So what I did is I went around dito sa neighborhood namin and asked for plastic bottles para lang meron akong magamit for my art. And also at the
mhm.
same time para na din makalesen yun nga sa disposal. And the thing is, ewan ko, nawala yung arte-arte ko sa mga bagay-bagay kasi I really pick kung ano mang makita ko na bottles kasi parang, oh, I need that. Parang nawala na yung essence sa parang, oh my God, it's garbage. I totally forgot that it's garbage kasi parang for me, it's a material that I need. So yun,
Mhm,
parang those are the things that I'm actually promoting. Kasi
mhm,
parang I want people to understand the use of upcycling as well. Not just recycling, not just reusing, but upcycling, which is yun nga, using the garbage into a more, kumbaga, it's artistically pleasing or aesthetically pleasing when you look at it. So yun.
mhm.
If you could see, I have a sample here, an whip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. So what I do is, yun, I melt the plastics with heat gun, pero just melt into siguro yung form niya na pwede mo nang ma-move but not really melt na natutunaw at umuusok. Kasi
Ah,
it's bad then for the environment.
that's why
So
ganyan
yun,
siya.
yeah, it's like that. And then afterwards, what I do is yan, kino-color ko siya isa-isa. I spray it with meron kasi ako compressor here and airbrush. Kasi I move away from spray paint kasi it's the same thing aerosol and we're still destroying the ozone and all. So kahit na medyo expensive, at least you could use it for a long period of time. And also yun nga, parang mas less yung toxic na
Mhm.
lumalabas. And at the
Mhm.
same time for us and for me as an artist, parang hindi ko siya masyado naaamoy kasi ang sakit sa ilong din ng ng spray paint if you use it frequently. So parang with airbrush and use of acrylic, parang hindi siya odorless siya So parang hindi din siya ganun ka sakit sa nose. Then afterwards,
Mhm.
what I do is kumbaga I mix them together ganyan, the plastics and form structures na yan yung iba-ibang colors which looks like coral reefs if you've seen coral reefs ayan.
Yes. I know they look like anemones actually. They look like
Yeah.
anemones underwater. So for your diving, may sinabi dito si Mary, sabi niya one man's trash is another's treasure. Which is so true.
Exactly. Feeling ko
Di ba?
relate kami dyan masyado ni Ina. Yeah. It's our treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, we me and Ina we have a lot of stocks na ng trash. Like we
Oo,
talk
we've been
about this a
exchanging
lot.
stories, diba? Oo. How much space we take in our houses na full of garbages to say, this
Totoo.
place is a dump, literally.
I can totally relate to the upcycling bit kasi ako naman I'm not an artist but I do love crocheting and I use
Okay.
plarn for some of my crochet. Plarn is plastic yarn. So alam mo
Oh.
yung mga plastic bags ng for example mag-supermarket ka and you have
Mm-mm.
lots of plastic bags, right? So what I do is I cut them into strips and then I make them into yarn called plastic yarn
Mm,
and that's what
I
I
think I've seen
use.
that. Oo.
Diba? So it's really great kasi it's waterproof. So that's what I use for parang holders. So I crochet holders, I crochet my ginagamit ko din siya for supermarket, ganyan. I make bags out of it. Yun lang, it's just for me. I don't sell it. Just for my pleasure and just also to what do you call this to just reuse the plastic because there's just way too much plastic at home. Which are,
Yeah. Yun, parang if you would notice actually if yun nga, parang like me, when I look at the materials that I have, yan yung mga plastics, medyo nasasad ako kasi like from one family lang, ganito kagad kadami yung plastics pala, ganyan. So what more with the whole country, with the whole world, 'di ba? So yun, medyo
mm,
sometimes I really stress too much about it.
Oo, ako din. Right now, what I have is parang I think you're not a Filipino household if you don't have a plastic bag of plastic bags.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Oo.
true.
Plastic
'Di
bag
For garbage.
inception.
Yeah.
Plastic bag of plastic bags. Now, I do have something here for Jane. So Jane naman, Jane, I think you were not originally an artist, tama ba? You're not originally an artist, but you became one. So tell us more about that. Ang galing
Talaga.
kasi natatakpan yung face ni Jane. Ayan.
There's a lot of amazing people that supported me to pursue art, even though I took up information technology. While the education gained in the classroom is without a doubt beneficial, a degree will always be an asset, but a degree backed up with extracurricular, real world, and hands on experience will give you a robust.
Mm.
So I was able to learn networking and participate in different communities events. It's a great opportunity for my personal growth and development. The art of collaboration comes naturally to some.
Mhm.
Learning to adapt to different personalities and accommodate diverse perspectives. It requires disciplines, maturity, and patience. Through that, I was able to start my career in art. At first, I created posters, banners, and murals. I do
Mm-hmm.
murals. When I took information technology, I focus on graphic and web designing because it's closer to enhancing my creativity. I haven't received any Latin honors, but I'm glad that I was able to join College Editors Guild of the Philippines. I was a student journalist back then. I am the chief layout artist. I manage the design of students' magazine, literary folios, newspapers, and proud to bring awards to my alma mater from NGI Regional Student Press Convention and Philippine Society of Information Technology Educators. 2 days after my graduation, I was very lucky to be able to find a job that quickly. I work in finance, I work as an instructor, I teach basics of graphic design, also computer and web fundamentals. I was able to work as a graphic designer and event specialist, but joining Metro Bank Art and Design Excellence really motivated me to pursue the career that I have now. So
Mm,
that's
I see.
how I started my career.
That's really interesting. Super duper interesting. So I see that I hope everybody can hear me because apparently some of my slides are getting stuck. So hold on. Let me go back to that. All right. Let me push it back again. Are we able to see it all? Can I just get a quick shout out from everybody?
I
Maybe
am
all.
not seeing anything. Just the
Yeah.
We're not
hindsight.
able to see
I
it.
There's no
I
Okay.
only
slide.
see the hindsight poster.
Okay,
Yeah.
are we able to okay, sorry. Natanggal ko na siya. So, mhm. Sandali, tingnan
How
ko
is
lang.
everyone doing?
Oh my God, we're stressed. We're stressed because of internet. Um,
Yeah, it's the rain. It's
Mm,
it's the
I
rain.
blame the
it's raining
rain.
pala. Oo, that'll do it.
Totoo.
That will do it. So give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go and
Guys, dance party.
Sure.
Joke lang.
No, honestly, I really love what Jane said, no. It's really not about the degree when you're creating art. It's really nice. Kasi yun
Mhm.
nga, like me, 'di ba, I'm teaching right now as a professor, and that's what I also tell my students na parang not because you have a degree means you're an artist agad. You have to embody it. You have to bring it
Mm-hmm.
inward. Parang you have to know the basics. You have to learn it through your heart, ganyan. So yeah, but I really love what she said.
Mm-mm.
Sobrang
I
nice.
agree. And the same way, I think that there are a lot of self-made artists that are really doing great right now. And I personally know a lot of them. And I think your degree should not define what you want to do in the future. But otherwise, but instead, what you have to do is follow your heart and like do what you want to do, whatever makes you happy, you know.
True.
And
That's true.
I think that's really good that you pursued art, Jane. It's really brave of you.
True.
Yeah.
And it really showed no na she really loves art kasi grabe talaga yung style niya. When I saw her works, grabe,
So true.
unbelievable. 'Di ba? Sobrang linis ng lines, ng figures. Grabe.
Style very strong. Her voice
Oo.
is
And
very
also the
strong.
emotions of the figures. Grabe.
Yes.
Ang intense. So I
I
really love
like I
it.
like what Ina said. The voice is very strong. Yeah.
Imagine that
I That is something that I notice
imagine
also
that feeling
with
na
Jane's
when
art.
you are working, you have everything. You have the
Oh,
ano, the monthly or every 15 days na pera, ganyan. Imagine that you have that, but still, parang kulang pa rin eh. Parang kulang pa rin. Pag hindi ka nakakapag-sketch, hindi ka
oh
nakakapag-drawing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
that's
why.
true. That's true. I
That is
agree.
true. Yeah, me too. Before I used to work in corporate before, and I
Same.
knew in my heart that my passion is in the arts. That it's the way to go for me. That would make me really happy, and so here I am now with Mary also, who is someone that I dragged into the art industry. Hello, Mary. Where is
She
Mary? Is
looks
she
like she's
back?
having fun naman.
Ayan,
Yeah.
she's back. Ako din eh. I was
Everyone
from
back.
the corporate
Yeah.
scene eh. Grabe
Right.
nakaka-dry kasi ng utak yung
Mm-mm.
pagiging
Well,
part ng corporate life.
Where is
One of the
Mary?
things
I
I
want to
like
ako
hear
is
naman
what
that
she has to
personally,
say
I've
about
always
this.
believed that, I'm here. And yeah, and so I really feel that you can strike a balance because in my case, I put my creativity towards a lot of the things that I do. And there's one person before who created a keynote called Think Like an Artist. And you would think that that keynote was about being an artist, but it's not. It's actually Think Like an Artist, but it's a keynote for STEM education, so for science and technology, and how you can apply creativity in that you do, including science. So you might think that creativity is not going to be useful for that, but even with me being an entrepreneur, yeah. So basically, that's what I really try to apply. I try to apply creativity in everything, including business.
I honestly feel
Mm-hmm.
like entrepreneurs and artists are some of the most creative people. They just went in different directions. It's very similar though, diba? You're creating something from nothing. You're trailblazing. You're doing something different. You have to think outside the box to create something that other people won't think of or haven't thought of. It's really cool.
I
True.
really
Yeah.
think that designers in general are like that. Like artists are designers, and artists are designed to solve problems. So you basically try to do something, like you said, do something out of nothing. Also means that you are risking something that has never been done before, and so you're getting out of the norm of what people think you should be doing. So yeah, there's a lot of similarity. There's lots of grit. Definitely, there's a lot of you that you put into your art. In the same way, there's a lot of me that I put into the business. So it's a risk as well that you need to take, right? Because people see it and they may like it, they may not like it. So
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's true. Everything is a risk actually. But to be honest, I feel like for me it's a risk that's worth taking. Kasi it's
yeah,
something that is in your passion eh. Like you're very passionate about it. You're very passionate about creating artworks. And when you don't take risk, nothing will happen. Like
mhm.
if I could share like a short lang. Like this quarantine period, this ECQ, I've been taking risks all throughout kasi I went back from abstract to figure to now abstract again kasi it's something that I really like but I feel like nung una parang I didn't know that it was something na magbo-boom pa rin or it's something na para sa akin talaga kasi parang I got too pressured with the fact na oh you have to put figures, you have to create artworks with figures ganyan. And then when I took the risk and made abstracts again, parang it became more natural, more me. Parang it showed how passionate I am about the artwork that I create right now. And it's transcending. I'm very happy that it is. Yeah. Share lang.
It's actually great. I mean, like you said, you pour a part of you into your art, and that's always apparent. Actually, the happier you are about what you do, the more it shows. Is
That
that
is
is that
true.
true? Because that's what I've been learning. These last four episodes of Brush with Artists, I've been learning more about art than I would if I read about it. Because I can see real experiences from artists telling me this is what it actually feels like to create. So
Yeah.
yeah, before anything though, before we move on, I do want to thank the 18,000 people that we have right now watching, and thank you so much for staying with us at this point. And I'd like to still continue on with the conversation, but this time by putting in. I'm not sure if you can still see it, but can you see my screen?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
We can't see
Yeah, it's
anything.
it's
Sorry.
yeah, it's stuck
Sorry.
in the poster.
It's really stuck in the poster. I'm gonna have to remove it. Give me a second. Okay, I wanted to kind of show a little bit more about what you guys have in hindsight. It's 2020, and a little like telling us a little bit more about the pieces that you have submitted. I'm gonna try and see if I can push that onto the stream in a few. But at the moment, I'd like to know more about the pieces that you've already created for us in Artstock PH. Okay, can we begin with Ian, I guess, or Ina?
Yun na
Ina,
lang.
it's Ina, Ina mahaba yung title eh. Hindi ko makabisado. Ang
Which
naalala ko
one?
lang Shining
Shining
Bright
bright
Like
like a diamond.
Shining
And then
bright
all
like
those
that.
Hashtag.
travel hashtags.
Hashtag,
With all the
okay,
hashtags.
Yes.
Hashtag
Shining
last
Okay,
hashtag.
let's hear about the
Hashtag big trip.
tardigrades.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Let's hear about the
So
cutie pies.
I think that's a little bit how it started. I wanted a new poster child for my artwork. For a while, I was doing gender, so it was more androgynous figures that kind of made people uncomfortable because they had a hard time deciphering, is this man, is this a woman? But then I shifted to the more environmental uh, topics. So I was thinking, like, what should I depict now? Because I really like doing figurative, even if it's not a human figure. So I started researching for animals that were very tough, indestructible, and could handle, I guess, the apocalypse. And then the perfect and cute and bizarre animal that I stumbled upon was exactly the tardigrade. Um, I just really liked everything about it. It could be cute because they're really pudgy and really round, but at the same time, they have this gaping darkness in their mouth that kind of I don't know. It just felt like it resonated with my artwork, so I just threw it in there. And I like
Yeah.
so of course I like to always balance out my artwork. I don't want it to be too dark. I don't want it to be too happy and funny. Like there's always a little bit of
Mm-mm.
that impending doom tone in varying degrees
Yeah.
and levels, but it's always there. So to balance that out,
Yeah.
I put my tardigrades in dresses, in bikinis, in shades, and that's and I just kind of like the idea of them taking over the world when we're gone. So they even take over social media, which is why I love using hashtags and emojis in the titles. So I
Yes.
try to pattern my work, yeah, as if they were using our social media platform.
Actually, I think it's really adorable, and at the same time, it's unique. I've not really encountered an artwork title that is like this. So, to our audience, if you're curious, visit artstockph.com and look for Ina's profile. You will find her series of tardigrade paintings there. And can you tell us more about the storyline of your series? Because it's a series of three paintings, right? And
Yeah.
these are all, they seem like what you mentioned earlier, um, like extinct humans, and it's just a tardigrade living out on
Yeah.
vacation, something like that.
Yeah. That yeah. So I really go through Instagram and I look for photos of people traveling and enjoying their life. And then I remove the
Yes.
people. And then I change the color scheme into something a little bit more bleak. And then I really just yeah, I transform it. I transform the landscape, transform the expectations of what you would expect from travel Instagrams. um, yeah, like the world will continue on without us. Things will keep as they
That is
are.
true.
I actually don't. I really feel like the way people talk about the environment and saving it, like saving the environment or saving the earth isn't quite right, because we should be trying to save ourselves, because the earth will keep spinning around the giant ball of
That is
fire
true. Yeah.
long after we're gone. So I think people are trying to make the environmental crisis sound more digestible, less like the apocalypse. And I'm
Mm,
not saying it's necessarily an apocalypse, but I think a change of language might be necessary to get people to go like, it's not just some trendy thing. It's not just metal straws that are going to save
True.
us. There's so many layers to
that's
it.
true.
There's, yeah, responsible purchasing. So you have to make sure that you're buying good products. Cheapest isn't always best. Expensive isn't always best. I'll give a really quick example. Like with chocolate, this is not really an environmental example, but just an example of responsible purchasing. So, say Hershey's chocolate is really cheap but good, but that's because they have pretty much child labor slaves doing the work for them, and that's how they're able to cut costs. But at
Mm,
the same problem with Godiva chocolate. They're very expensive, but they also have the same problem. So you really have to research the brands that you buy from
mm-mm,
to make sure that you're supporting the best possible
mm-mm.
company, and their impact isn't harmful on people, isn't harmful to the environment. Just make sure they're
Yeah.
not greenwashing and stuff like that.
That's true. That is
Agree.
true, and it's a
Yeah, yeah.
conscious decision. Once you decide, then it's like a. I don't want to say it, but it's like a lifestyle choice. Like when
Yeah,
someone decides to be a vegan, you know. So if you decide that you want to contribute in the most remarkable way, you start with yourself, and it's a conscious decision to keep choosing what is best, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Now I wanna hear naman the story from Ian, because Ian's painting is full of energy. That's at
Yeah.
least that's how I perceive it. Can you tell us more about your piece, Together We Swam, for Hindsight is
Oh,
2020, which you can
ayan.
see, by the way, on
Yeah.
artstock.com.
Ayan, actually, the series that I've submitted sa Artstock, it's actually my rebirth, the start of the rebirth that I was talking about a while ago. Um, Kaya punong-puno siya ng energy is because it's a risk, it's a risk that I've taken. From figures, I've broken it down to abstractions, wherein you could see the images, but you could really, you will see it if you look at it ng matagal, but not in an instant. So like the Together We
Mm-mm.
Swam, wherein you could see yun nga, lionfishes, tapos meron yung isa, yung hide and seek. Tama ba? Hide and seek, which is
Mm.
yung octopus and all. So yun, so parang it's actually the first babies of my rebirth when it comes to the art style na meron ako ngayon.
Mm-mm.
And to be honest, I just want to say thank you kay Fab kasi kumbaga ikaw
Oh.
yung fire starter. Yeah, you're the fire starter because you've accepted the series na parang, okay, abstract siya, pero G, sige. Parang you didn't tell me na parang, oh, dapat figures, ganyan and all, ganon. So parang it's the fire starter of what's happening to me right now in my career. And yun, going
Oh.
back, it's full of energy because yun nga, when I paint, I really use a lot of elements like fire, water when I paint. Like I really drench the whole canvas or the whole wood and let the elements play with itself. So parang I let the paint drips dance. I let the paint splatter on its own. And kumbaga, the only thing that I do as an artist is to manipulate it into something that is aesthetically pleasing or to group it together so that hindi lang siya sabog naman tingnan. So yun. So I feel like that is the reason why there is so much energy behind it. Ayan.
it's in your process. It really starts in the process and your state of mind when you start creating something, no? And then
Yeah, totoo.
it transcends.
I feel
Yeah.
like kung mapapanood nga ako mag-paint ng mga tao, mababaliw sila because I really dance. Like I dance, I throw paint around, ganyan. As in kalat na kalat yung buong katawan ko, buong face ko and all. So
And
yeah.
also you are a performance artist. Have
Yeah,
you
yeah.
ever tried painting live and incorporating your body movements?
Actually, not yet yung painting live because yun nga, parang there wasn't
Yeah.
a space para kasi na pwede akong medyo magkalat because I feel like when I perform while painting, baka sumabog-sabog yung mga paint and nahihirapan mag-clean yung mga tao. Because I had this performance recently lang where I played with the embodiment of an a sea turtle. And it kind of
Hmm.
got really bloody. As in, parang dugo-dugoan yung itsura ko and it made a mess. So parang medyo pinag-isipan ko pa if I really wanna do the performance that yun, nagpe-paint ako while performing. Kasi yun nga,
Mm-mm.
parang it's a big space, sige G. Pero if it's a small space, parang sige, let's do a different performance na lang. When I could still
Yeah.
incorporate the advocacy that I'm fighting for. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing
Rochelle.
that, Ian. Na, let's go to Jane.
Syempre,
So, with Jane naman, I'd like to hear the story behind Hear Thyroor because again, as we mentioned earlier, I'm going to use what Ina said. Um, your voice is really loud in all of your pieces. Can you tell us more about your piece Here Thyroor?
Um, Here, the roar can be described as the sum of my isolation experience, diba? The countless
Mm-mm.
delicate shrines, forming a jungle. Everything is a jungle in my own world. Parang sa sarili ko mundo, feeling ko jungle siya. It's not safe. Mm, I don't feel safe in my own sarili ko. Uh, it envelopes my subject to resemble the range of my emotions. So, during this pandemic, ilang beses akong umiyak. Kasi I
Hmm.
keep it to myself. I
Same.
tried to post a lot to
Nata-teary-eyed ako.
share my galit, my pikon, to share that to everyone. I want to do that, but eventually I erased them. Hindi ko na sinishare. So, imbes na i-share ko siya ng negativity, lahat na galit, makikigalit ako, I erased na lang the post and just absorb all the emotions and just paint it away. Every that fine details na nakita niyo sa painting ko, those are a lot of my bad experiences, naiisip ko na nare-relate ko on that day na related sa past experience ko. For example, may naisip ako today na nakita ko online dahil marami nagpo-post, especially right now, marami nagpo-post about the violence during
Mm-mm.
na na-experience ng bawat na ibang family na hindi safe. Sabi ko, naisip ko, because when I was in younger years, experience ko yun eh. Not in the family, but the others. Kasi, to be honest, I am hearing impaired. So, I feel being bullied a lot when I was in elementary, high school. No, bingay, bingay, bingay. Sinisigawan ako ng gano'n. Then I just paint it away. I just paint it away. Yung every fine details na yan, may meaning yan eh. Kayo, isipin nyo na lang kung alin dun sa dito. Ito yung part na ano, medyo umiiyak ako kasi medyo hindi straight yung line sa'yo, makikita mo yun. So that's why, yung painting na yun, nilagay ko sa show, is sobrang detailed, but the face is hindi mo alam kung iiyak ba or what. And I feeling like, kung emotion na kaganyan, kasi, okay, I'm just consume all the feelings that I have. ay consume ko na lang kasi baka mamaya i-release ko, anong i-post ko ng galit ako, I didn't know kung ano yung pinagdadaanan ng iba. No? Mamaya mag-share ako ng mga
Mm-mm.
tawag dito, achievements ko. Mamaya mag-share ako ng mga achievements ko, yung iba pala naghihirap. So, we need to be we need to be sensitive right now. So, imbes na i-post ko, magdadada ako dyan sa Facebook or what, I just put it away. So, that's it.
Mhm.
What's the
Yeah.
story behind my painting. And,
Ayan, thank you for the hearts.
It's
It's
like,
so
Ayan.
emotional.
thank you, Jane, for sharing that.
May iyak ako.
Yeah.
Ang
Because
bigat.
It's like what Ian also mentioned, right? Like what Ian mentioned earlier that he pours his emotion also into his paintings na din. And that's why, you know, his collection came out with full of energy, right?
Mm-mm.
Thank you, Jane. That's
Mm.
beautiful.
Ayan, meron akong follow-up question. Okay
Wow.
lang ba? Actually ba, everybody, I hope you can now see
Go.
me.
Yes.
Sorry about a minute ago. I just want to kind of uh, also put in here the artwork that you were not able to see a while ago. I was gone. Ayan, this is the shining bright like a diamond, stronger than yesterday. Hashtag brighter than darkness. Hashtag travel. Hashtag is the
Tag
key.
travel.
Ayan.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
It's
but
so
if you
pretty.
want, yeah, and if you want that, there's actually one more like it, two more like this, right? Tama ba,
Two
Ina?
more, yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Two
Yeah,
we have
more.
this year.
this lake is eerie, diba? We have this lake is eerie also, which also features your bikini type tardigrade.
Yeah.
Really, on
Posing in
vacation,
the wind.
in the wind.
Yes.
Ayan. And also with this wooden stand also. Kaya if you want this,
Mm.
unfortunately, guys, you cannot have this anymore because it was snapped up. It was snapped up by somebody, but there are two more like it that you might want to check out as well. Same with our other artists right now. Their art is currently on the site, and the themes are makikita mo eh, if you like Together We Swam and if you like Hear Thy Roar, if you like this style and you like this, you get it. If you want something a little bit different but from the same artist, they're all available on the site. So my follow-up question, I think on Ian, you were saying a while ago that you performed. Well, you
Yeah, yeah.
usually perform. Like I see some other artists do that as well. May video ka ba?
I
Do you
have
actually kind
actually,
of
but I
film
haven't
yourself?
posted it pa eh.
I'm waiting
Ang
for you to
hirap
post it.
mag-edit.
I'm so sad.
Madami.
Ang hirap
I'm sad I
mag-edit
missed that
eh.
one.
But
OMG.
parang I've posted like stories lang ata before nung
Mm-mm.
performances ko.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's all I've seen.
Yeah.
Mm. Pero hindi pa talaga siya napopost as like a YouTube video or something. So I really
Not
want to
yet.
watch.
Actually, I'm working on it pa lang right now. I'm kind of
Mm-mm.
editing one. Pero because of all the busy things that we do.
I know
Yeah.
editing videos, guys, is so hard work. I never knew about
True.
that. I only learned how to edit videos in quarantine. It's one of those little skills that you learn. I didn't learn how to do sourdough baking, but I did learn how to edit a video during quarantine. But it's hard. I like so much respect for the people who are actually doing that on a daily basis. By the way, just a shout out to
Yeah.
Aus Alcala right here. Sabi niya, Gagi, naiyak ako doon, bigat.
That's
Diba?
true.
Ayan,
hi,
so much feels. Sabi ni Jeffrey,
Ah,
your family ha. Ayan, so much
So
feels.
sweet.
sweet.
Dapat sana, we should have included Jane in last week's episode of Art and Emotions. Kasi super perfect. So,
True.
what else do we have? Do we have any questions from our audience? audience, for the 16,000 viewers we have right now, if you have any questions for our artists, please go ahead and ask them. We still have just about maybe 5 or 10 minutes left to our live stream right now. So now is your chance. If you have any questions, just put them onto the stream, and we'd love to see them. By the way, shout out to Bon Labora, who is watching on YouTube right now. Do you see that little icon down below? That means he's watching on
Yeah.
YouTube. Thank you so much for
Ah,
watching on YouTube, because we still don't have a lot of viewers on YouTube. We're starting to increase our following there as well. There. So, Fab, do you have any questions? Any more questions for our artists?
Mm, actually, wala na.
Yes. No questions. Okay, sige,
Ito meme eh, no?
I have one question. Do you have a particular moment in your life when you realized I am an artist?
Oh my
When
God.
was that
Nakaiyak na
point in
naman
your
to.
life? Na parang, "Shucks, I am an
That is
artist."
such a good that is such a good question. Thank you,
I just
Mary.
want to know. Ako, I know I found out I was an entrepreneur when I was 18 years old. I thought I was gonna be a scientist, like for reals, scientist talaga. I thought I was gonna be wearing a lab gown all my life, and then I became an entrepreneur, and I found out I liked it, and so I told myself for all my life, I'm just gonna be anybody I want and build any business that I want to build. So, yeah, so I'd like to know from an artist perspective. Art is so risky. So, when did you find out that I want to be an artist and I'm going to be one? Okay, take it away. It's up to you who wants to go first.
Go, Ina.
I knew it. Okay. No. Like, I think it was just that in school, instead of taking notes and listening, I was always drawing. I actually had a hard time with verbal communication for a long time. Uh, I also have like a focus disorder. So, and then it was just like, I always felt like I didn't really fit in a conventional setting because of all of the small things that made me feel like an outsider. So I thought like the perfect place for someone like me would be in an unconventional setting, which was exactly the art scene. And I actually meant to mention this earlier, but I really love the people I've been meeting because again, it's like a lot of people who think outside the box, a lot of people that are unafraid of being themselves, voicing their opinions, dressing high font. um,
My pawns.
Hi,
Ayan,
so
Paul.
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. Yeah, and so it's really just great, like people who are unafraid of the pursuit of knowledge, even and having opinions that might make other people uncomfortable. By the way, I also know quite a few of those nga sa entrepreneurial scene. Yeah, it's really just people who are unafraid. And I guess I was not never really that kind of person. I'm a very nervous person, but it's really great to be surrounded by that kind of energy. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like when I realized like I am very bad at studying. I can't be a vet. I'm gonna end up hurting something. Is when I realized I was meant to be an artist. Oh, really,
How
really
about
short
you?
anecdote. Really short anecdote, by the way, going back to the theme of schooling and being bad at school. So, on my first solo show, I invited some of my high school teachers to come see what I had grown into.
Oh
Truly
no.
said, "Oh, nga, ayun, I'm back." Okay, so this one particularly strict teacher went, "Oh, congratulations, Ina! I'm so proud of you." And she was strict, so she kept scolding me, and I went, "So all of that drawing I did in your class wasn't for nothing." And then she didn't reply. Na scene zone na ko.
How about si
I
Ian
am that.
naman? When did you find out? Na-teen zone ka ba? But tarot teachers are kind of the best teachers.
Yeah.
That's my
Oh no, she
I
was always
agree.
one
I
of my
agree.
favorites. Yeah.
oo.
She's a very good
Yeah,
teacher.
so
Yeah.
really good
Ako naman,
teachers for the
ay, sige. Ayun, ako, I feel like it was long before. Kasi yung parents ko, they really pushed me into creating works, artworks, ganyan. And I remember this specific contest that I had before, na parang, I had to draw like the typical yung farm image, yung merong bahay kubo, ganyan, coconuts, carabao, fields, rice fields, then the letter M na ibon, ganyan. And then, I
mm-mm.
didn't know how to draw the kalabaw. I didn't know how to draw the carabao. So, yung mom ko, paulit-ulit, like, she got mad at me. Parang sinabi niya, ano ba yan? Hindi ka marunong mag-drawing, blah, 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 ganyan. And it wasn't pressure for me. It felt like I had to prove something. Kasi lagi akong ganun eh. Even till now, parang I have to prove you wrong, ganyan. So what I did is,
Yeah.
I kept on drawing that carabao. As in, paulit-ulit talaga, yun lang dinodraw ko. And to my surprise, yung contest, it was, ano kasi siya, marami siya eh. Like from grade 1 to 4th year high school, yung magkakalaban. Tapos, 4 kayo per section. So, there was a lot of people. And to my surprise, nanalo ng first place in sketching yung scene ko na ginawa. Kasi nga, gawa ng Carabao. Kasi na-perfect ko yung Carabao. And the rest is matched with the Carabao itself. So, parang, sabi ko, okay, I feel like yun na yung calling ko as an artist. Siguro artist na ako because of that Carabao. Ganyan. So yun. And yun, I can relate a lot with Ina. I really draw a lot when it comes to listening in class. Like, I can't listen sa professor or sa teacher na hindi ako nag-scribble or hindi ako nagdodraw. Mas gumagana yung utak ko na nagmo-multitask ako. Yun. So yun. That's my story.
Ayan.
My crazy Carabao story.
The Carabao. Dapat yata yung title ng ating, alam mo, if I was gonna record the audio for this and make it into a podcast, yun ang title nito eh. Undo those Carabaos and changing your path. Yan ang mga feeling ko ganun nangyari. Papunta ka dito ka napunta. And it was actually where you go. You're where you're meant to be, di ba? How about
True.
Jane? Sige naman. When did you finally kind of realize? Parang part of it you already said a while ago. When did you find out that being an artist is what you want to be?
Actually, more of a saling ket-ket. Saling ket-ket, parang gusto ko lang sumama, ganyan. Sama lang ako sa mga grupo-grupo, ganyan. But then,
Mm-mm.
yung mga teachers ko nung college, elementary, "Halika dito Jane, sali ka diyan." Yung mga poster making, mga ganyan-ganyan. I just joined kasi wala, lalabas na school eh, hindi ako attend ng klase. So, sige,
Mm-mm.
sali ako, gano'n. Then, I grab awards ng kahit mga third place lang, ganyan. The last award that I have na-receive ko was in college.
Yun ano?
Champion ng digital art sa P-Site, yeah, that. Champion ng digital art sa P-Site. Sabi sa akin ng dean's lister ko, Jane, sali ka dito. Ganyan. Tapos, pinadala ko, walang budget, walang kotse. I just think a commute out sa school namin, ganyan. Then, pag-uwi ko, sir, may Wacom ako. Nagkaroon ako ng Wacom. Ganon. Then,
Okay, ako.
nagpagawa ng tawag yan,
Nice.
tarpaulin yung dean's lister ko na-up ko yung course namin. Tapos, sabi ko, yung kasi yung degree ko, IT. So, I tried to pursue IT. Nagturo ako, di ba? Ganyan. Then, yung mga tao sa paligid ko, parang gusto nila, yung mas nakikita nila yung art, imbes na nakikita nila na nagtuturo ako. So that's why, sige, pursue ko na to. Ganon. Ganun mo mag-message sa akin. Tuloy mo yan, drawing mo, ganyan. Tapos sali ka dito, sali ka diyan. Compete mo 'yan, gano'n. Tapos tinuturuan nila ako kung anong mga materials na gagamitan kasi hindi ako nag-aral ng fine arts, eh. So, they give away the technique. So, ako naman, sige absorb ko, ganyan. Tapos ayun, gano'n yung nangyari
Nice.
sa'kin. So, kaya that's why nandito ako.
It's nice. It's
Nice.
a calling talaga. Para siyang
Calling talaga.
minagnet ng ano. Totoo.
Oo.
Parang
Salamat
gano'n.
sa
It
Beside
is.
and Beside Wacom. Salamat
Thank
sa
you,
Beside.
Wacom.
Thank you. Thank you. Beside is also one of my most favorite organizations. It's called the Philippine Society of IT Educators. That's what it stands
Yeah.
for. Yeah, and I'm in IT, so I really love that organization. I used to speak for them as well. Not used to. Besides, I'm just here for any for any
Yeah.
invitation you have. Okay, so there is one question here. It says, actually may question si Mary, pero yung kay Bon muna. Siguro sa isang tao lang, what triggers your passion to create art? Siguro for I'll ask this kay Ian, what triggers your passion to create art?
It's basically emotions and the
Mm-mm.
mixture of me fighting for the advocacy. Usually kasi what I do with the advocacy itself, yung marine and aquatic life, I relate it with us as humans. Kasi what we don't know is sobrang dami nating
Mm-mm.
elements and sobrang dami nating kumbagang essence as a human na marirelate mo sa dagat. And what I do
Mm-hmm.
is I merge them together, which ignites the passion in me na parang, oh, okay, at least I'm hitting two birds with one stone or hitting two
Nice.
advocacies with one artwork. Ganyan. So yun
Mm.
yung sagot ko dyan.
Ayan, for Ina naman, is it more of a big risk for you, like shooting for the moon or calculated? Like meron kang plan B, A, B, and C.
I don't plan anything. If this doesn't work out, I'm screwed.
Shoot for the moon
Uh,
talaga.
yeah, kasi like I said, I really felt like I couldn't. I mean, I'm definitely a different person from when I thought na I can only be an artist. But yeah, I really don't have much plan Bs. I definitely plan on continuing to create. I can't imagine taking a different kind of job where I'm not making things, doing things with my hands, thinking creatively. I don't know. I just can't imagine. Like I had a job that was already kind of semi related to art, but I was an employee. It didn't work out.
See, ayan. So, you know what? I
Yeah.
really would like to continue more this conversation kasi it's really interesting. Alam mo yan, just when it's getting good.
Yeah.
Sabi ko, we have to end it. So, we're around an hour na. So, thank you again for everybody who's stayed with us this long and stayed with us throughout this live stream. I just want to just give like a preview for next week. Okay, next week we are going to have
Mm.
Fab.
Yeah. Yes.
Fab, this is
Yeah, we
gonna be
are going to discuss. Yeah, so our episode next week is with Mariel Garcia and Isabel Barredo del Mundo, and we are going to talk about books and beginnings. So please stay
Kala
tuned.
ko BTT.
That's going to be same time next week, 7 p.m. Thursday next week. So
Okay.
yeah, there you go.
Ayan. There you go.
Books
So, and for everybody who is watching right now, don't forget our website is artstockph.com. And please follow us in our social media at artstockph. In all the social media channels, we are artstockph. In Instagram, Twitter, even LinkedIn. So if you're a LinkedIn fan for articles and stuff, we are there at artstockph. Now, if you have any
Yeah.
suggestions on what you want to see, for the next Brush with Artists episode, we are very, very open to your suggestions. Please go ahead and DM us, send us a message at any of these channels, and we'll be very, very happy to hear more about what you want to hear and what you want to see in these shows. Because we are not stopping, this is just the beginning. All right. So, again, thank you very
Yes, that
much.
is true.
Thank you very much for joining us again today. And We'll see you again next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you. Goodbye. Oh, wave na.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.